Good evening, everyone. Welcome. How about that? A little better. Welcome to Commissioner's Court. Tonight is the 28th of July, 2014, and it's 6 p.m. This is our second meeting of the month, our special meeting, our evening meeting. And we're going to begin, as we do with all of our meetings, and we're going to start with a prayer, secondly, a pledge of allegiance, and then we'll begin with public comments. So if you'll join me and stand, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another precious day of life, and we're grateful to be able to be here to discuss and conduct county business. We just turn this meeting over to you and ask now that you would preside, that you would guide and direct the comments of everyone in this room, the ideas, just bless those ideas, that they would develop toward the benefit of this county and each taxpayer and each resident that is here. We just thank you for this agenda tonight and for the jobs that you have given us to oversee the business affairs of this county. May we do it prudently, and may we do it respectfully in a way that honors you. We give you the praise, and we just thank you for this county. We ask your blessings upon each person, on our economy. We just pray for our loop project. We pray for our servicemen and women, whether they be from Titus County or anywhere in this great country, Lord. We just protect them and bring them home safely. We ask it all in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, item number one is our opportunity for public comments and or requests for information on non-agenda items or on agenda items. In accordance with Section 551.042 of the Texas Open Meetings Act, I've got one request to speak, but it is in regards to item number 5. And Mr. Isasi, am I pronouncing that correctly? Would you like to reserve your comments until the time that we address that specific issue, or would you like to address it now at the beginning of the meeting? I think it'll be more appropriate if we zero in on that particular agenda item, so I'll call on you when I get to that item, okay? All right, item number 2, consider and possibly approve minutes from the July 14th, 2014 regular meeting of the court. This was our meeting 2 weeks ago.
Judge, I'm going to make a motion we approve the minutes.
All right, thank you. I've got a motion from Commissioner Hinton. I'll second those. I've read over those too, and Joyce made a couple of minor adjustments for me. All those in favor of the approval of these minutes from the last meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 3 is a status report for our Titus County pass-through projects. Everybody that wants one, have a copy of that. I've got a few extras. I'm going to go over this and hit the highlights, but I do have some extras available if anyone would like these. This is provided by PTP Transportation, our project managers, and there's a little bit of more detail in here that I'm going to go into, so I'll hit on the high points. Under the engineering topic, on US 271, the large portion of our project, the high-speed project, time extension number 2 is in the contractor's hands for signature and has already received approval from TxDOT Atlanta. This extension is to add 69 days to the contract, which will take the finish date to the end of September, with the anticipation of still opening the facility to live traffic around Labor Day. Once the road is open, there will still be some minor items to take care of, but they feel like these can be done while traffic is utilizing the new road. Once we receive the executed time extension from Williams Brothers, PTP will bring this back to us for our approval as well. On FM 4000, this is the section that goes from South Jefferson out to Chapel Hill. There are 2 pending change orders for James Construction Group. One is for installing some guardrail on the 2348 detour due to a couple of two exactly power poles that turned out being too close to the detour route, which was a change in field condition once the utilities were relocated, and the approximate cost of that change order will be $5,000. We'll get that when they are completely ready to bring that to us. The next change order will be for a change in materials to get the grass to grow better, adding some fiber material to that. No cost to the county on that change order. Again, that will be approved by all the different parties and brought back to us probably at the next meeting. In the environmental department on FM 4000, James Construction Group, our contractor, has hired their own environmental crew, and this has improved maintenance of the sediment and erosion control practices. We had a couple of problems. We had some, actually a visit by TCEQ to let them know that the way they were handling some of the erosion and some of the sediment was not where it needed to be, and James Construction made the adjustments there. Mr. Plucker, who works for PTP, was up here for a couple of weeks this month working with James Construction Group and their subs and their staff to get these matters back in line so that it was in accordance with the permits that were held on this project. PTP says that James Construction has taken great steps to get everything back in line with the permits, and the Titus County PTP staff appreciates their efforts. The topic is construction on US 271, $72,475,893 paid to date. The original contract, 663 days. We had previously added 104 days. We are negative 12 days into that right now, and that's why they're asking for another 69 days. The force account, or the account related to the bridge that was too short, the contractor continues to work on this force account. They currently have all the bridge beams back in place. They are forming, tying steel, and pouring the bridge decks. Spans 6, 7, and 8 have been poured. That leaves 2 deck portions, or 2 spans remaining. They're scheduled to pour again tomorrow. Minus a few, special note, minus a few precast panels on the bridge construction, it is back to where it was before the height problem was discovered. They've placed all the embankment on the north header and treated it with lime. They'll start placing the cement-treated base next week. That's where the bridge that's in the air actually comes down on the west side and hits solid ground once again. They're scheduled to start placing cement treated base there next week, and they'll be pouring the concrete in the weeks following that. The entire bridge is scheduled to be complete beyond the force account work by the end of the month. So here in just a few days, again, back to where they were when they discovered the problem. As of July 25th, the cost of this bridge repair, $1,835,000. So we are about $15,000 shy of maxing out at the $1.85 million. So no cost savings there as we had hoped. Contract items left. They are installing remaining metal beam guard and throughout the project. Southwest Environmental is removing some of the silt fence and rock filter dams that are put up to keep erosion from happening and sediment from spreading over the roads. They're seeding these areas with permanent grass. The rail crew has completed all traffic rails except for that part over the Union Pacific Railroad. The paint crew will be back here Tuesday of next week to start painting the bridges. We had to put that on hold, as you'll recall from a couple of months ago. We found that we had birds nesting in the bridges. They have finished their egg-laying season, and we can get back to work. And of course, there are some remaining signs still to be put out. A lot of the signage is already up, because I've been out there and had traveled the new road there. It looked to me like most of the big signs are up. I suppose there are quite a few smaller signs that will be required. Note, per Williams Brothers, they are pushing to have traffic on the loop by Labor Day weekend if all goes well. I got to throw in that if, but they truly believe that they think that they can do it. FM 4000, $13,460,000 paid thus far, 383 days on the contract, of which there are 61 remaining. We've got 4 crews working. A dirt crew. Dirt crew is feverishly hauling embankment there at the low point where the apartments are. There's some apartments back there behind Tractor Supply, and that's the low part of the road that they needed to bring in some 15, 20 feet of fill to get that low spot filled up, and they're about 95% complete at filling in that hole. They continue to place lime and fly ash and flex base throughout the project. They're continuing to work at the intersection with FM 1735 and 2348. They're still in phase 1B, and they've got 2 phases to go. The bridge crew, there's a major bridge on that project, and they've completed all of the concrete decks on Hart Creek, and they're now forming and pouring the traffic rail. They're currently forming, tying steel, and pouring concrete decks there at the UPRR, where 4000 crosses over the railroad there, right at the Prefert property. The concrete paving crew has completed the pavement for phase 1 and 2 on US 271. That's down there by Walmart where we've had all the barrel problems. Traffic is scheduled to be switched Wednesday, 2 days from now, so the contractor can move on with the last phase. I hope, and I have been told that the barrels will be less onerous this time. We can only hope that that's true. The retaining wall crew is the last group that is working. They're completing the retaining walls on this bridge that goes over the Union Pacific Railroad, a large bridge project there that has taken a lot of time and manpower. They say they're about 70% complete on these. The contractor will shut down their night operation starting next week and move everyone to days. They're not reducing the size of the crews. They're just combining the day and the night crew all together so that they don't have to work nights. They have said their goal is to continue completing the seal coat from FM 1735 to US 271, and the entire project, if possible, by the deadline. That's what they say. So they want to complete that seal coat from 1735 all the way to US 271. We've asked them to focus on 271 out there to 2348. We're certainly hoping we can get that complete so that the people who have been dependent or who are dependent upon that travel route won't have to continue to take the long way around. So again, PTP and my discussion with them today says, you know what, it actually looks like it's a possibility for them to complete Union Hill Road or 2348 back to South Jefferson. That's if everything goes well. If we have good weather from here on to the end of August, so let's hope that we do. James Construction Group says they are confident they can complete the section from FM 1735 to Business 271 by the end of August. And that's in reference to laying the seal coat. As you'll recall, we're pushing that deadline of the end of August, or September 1 is what TxDOT is saying. We want you to have your seal coat work done, or we're not going to approve it because it's getting too late in the year. PTP feels this will be close, but it is possible depending on the weather and the production. James feels they have a chance to complete it all, but our recommendation would be to see how the next week or so goes, then we'll get back with the county. Any questions, comments? Commissioners, you learn anything at your meetings that I don't know about? All right. Item number 4, update on the Harts Bluff project. I just decided to give Roger Ledbetter a call at TxDOT. He's our local rep here at the TxDOT office here in Mount Pleasant. We just talked briefly. Their intention, their hope, and their goal is to have that Harts Bluff widening project complete by the time school starts. Now, it was quite a mess out there last week after the rain, a lot of mud giving them problems, but they do know that school starts at the end of August, and they are really trying to have that work done by that time, or at least where it is passable. We certainly hope so, because that will be a mess. Commissioner Riddle, do you know anything I don't know on that project?
No, I talked to, it's Friday, the guy, the local guy that's out there every day, a fellow named Mike Morris, and he said they were on target to do it. He was telling me why that they went to that follow me one lane, had to have a pilot car because Thomas said they're doing that on 1735, allowing them to make that merge lane, and he said that they're right on target to finish by the time school started.
Good, good.
It's Friday.
Well, that'll be a badly needed improvement for that area, and we sure hope it's done by the time school starts. All right, item number 5, consider and possibly approve a change to the Caddo Trace subdivision. How many of you are here regarding that particular topic? I'm just curious. Okay. Welcome, everybody. For those of you that haven't been to Commissioners Court, just as a brief review for the Commissioners, we brought this up, what has it been now, Mike? 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that, and Mike brought to us a request that he was asking for some help on his Caddo Trace subdivision, and we fortunately slowed down and said, let's look and see how we need to do this in accordance with the law. We sent out notices by certified mail to all of the residents out there explaining what was being proposed, and it's my understanding that there is obviously some interest in this, and it's also my understanding, Mike, you have rethought your situation and maybe would like to make an adjustment to what you had originally asked us for, and that was to basically carve out those northern 7 lots as if they were never part of that subdivision, but since then maybe you have rethought that. So at this time, I think I'm going to let Marcus Asasi come and speak. Marcus, if you'd like to come up here to the microphone, and perhaps your concerns may be taken care of by Mr. Edwards, but nonetheless, since you took the time to fill out a form, I'll turn the mic over to you for a few minutes.
Thank you. Well, we're here as a community, as neighbors, and we've gathered to pretty much consult and ask for guidance on this, because our first notification was those letters, and since then there's been a series of communications between Mr. Edwards and most of the subdivision, and part of it though is just maintaining the integrity of that subdivision. When we all bought our houses in there, it was just one of those things, we bought it as our primary investment. This is not It's not another investment to us. This is our home. This is our primary residence. It's something we want to protect, and it's also something. And I know that's something that Mike does not want to do. He's not wanting to intentionally cause harm or anything. But without the stakeholders' input, it's hard to make decisions. Well, one person make decision when there's a whole community living there. And so what we're asking is if there is a way, what was on the commissioner's video from last time was a full removal of the restrictions. I don't think Mike is asking for that now, and if he does, I would advise that we're not for that. I would say please no, if that's the only way to do it, we need to find another alternative to that. But I would like, and all of us, and I think I speak on behalf of everyone here, we all would like to support Mr. Edwards in anything he does do, as long as it is what we would think is fair and reasonable, not just to obviously him, but to every single person that lives in that subdivision that bought into it as well. So I ask that while you consider any changes to Caddo Trace Estates.
Very good. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike?
Copy of those, I think, in the past, but first of all, I want to say thank you for your time again tonight, and I serve on the board at Chapel Hill School, so I understand how valuable it is, especially at night, and we'll make it short. I also want to thank our residents of Caddo Trace for showing their concern and their interest in this change that could possibly be taking place. They have a neat subdivision there as far as residents, very tight neighborhood. I guess this is a pitch for you guys for some good neighbors out there, but I was invited over July the 4th to just visit with them a little bit about what we had proposed to do. And I'm kind of jealous, even though I just live across the way, and I still own some lots in there. I'm just not quite a resident there, so I don't get to participate in some of their parties and stuff that they have, but they really have a neat neighborhood there. And I do want to protect that. And I think that you guys felt that conveyed here in the last time that I was here in my thoughts and comments, in my reasoning for having requested that those 7 lots 1 through 7 are the lots that we are in question. One is a personal request for me for some release of some tax dollars, obviously. I mentioned that when I was here. The subdivision has not sold, it has not sold out, contrary to what the paper stated, and it could have been a misunderstanding. There are lots left in there. I own half of those lots that are still in there, and my brother owns the other half. It's very much of an interest to us to make sure that subdivision stays pure and clean and nice and neat and what we intended for it to do. And so our intention is only to make it stay like it is or to be better. The relief from tax dollars would basically be a relief for those 7 lots being put into a 4.77 acre tract, which would relieve the taxes from being taxed at $15,000 each times 7 to being dropped back to a 1 tract. It cannot be called a lot because the appraisal district will not recognize that. It needs to be a tract. So if you make that recommendation, Mr. Hockaday, I'd like for you to leave the word lot out of it, just simply for legality reasons. I had originally asked you to consider taking that and making it requesting that it be made into 4.77 acre tract, and that the restrictions be removed. My only reason for asking that the restrictions be removed is because the way I understood and the way I interpreted the restrictions that I helped write, I thought that had to be done in order for me to create a buffer, which is my intent on that property, like trees or a hedgeway across the property. And after some counsel from my attorney and a little bit of counsel from John Mark, he's been on vacation for 2 weeks, so it's been kind of tough, but it's my understanding that
Actually, he wasn't on vacation. He's been in training.
Oh, well,
Just been kind of protecting. Does anybody want a copy of this while we're talking? Maybe y'all are all familiar with this. I've got a few up here if you change your mind. Sorry, Mike.
That's fine. I didn't realize. I just knew it was out, and I knew we were having a hard time connecting. But it's my understanding that really those restrictions don't need to be removed. Now, from a legal standpoint, I haven't actually been able to pin anybody down on this exactly as to what we need to do. We just need to make sure that it gets taken care of. I'm asking you to recognize that 4.77 acres as not being a part of Caddo Trace. But I'm also asking that and I don't know that you have the authority to do this, I just think it has to be filed on my behalf, but I'm asking that the restrictions that remain part of that now continue to be on that property. And what that does is that protects that property as long as that is reinstated. It's my understanding that that's 30 years from the time it's put on the first time, and then it has to be reinstated every 10 years for those restrictions to stay on there. What happens, and there's subdivisions through my lifetime in Mount Pleasant, Titus County, that have had restrictions placed on them, and for some reason the property owner that originally subdivided that, who is the person who has to be responsible for reinstating that, didn't do it. And so what happens is, in a case like that, those restrictions fall off, for lack of a better word, and anything and everything can happen. There's a subdivision north of town where there's a store adjacent to some homes. And the reason for that is the fact that those restrictions were not reinstated. And it's my intention to keep those, and it actually been kind of put in our family trust that those restrictions remain on that subdivision for at least 100 years. So we want to maintain that clean environment that we established with the restrictions. So it certainly would be to our advantage to keep the restrictions on that 4.77 acres. Now, I don't know, like I say, I don't know if that falls under you guys' authority to leave it like that, or if it has to be submitted over at the clerk's office. I just don't know. Do you know, Diane? I mean,
Well, the district court does have the right to make that decision.
okay, well, good. I mean, that's clean cut. Then it can all be taken care of here in one motion. Then, but I have no reason or desire to have the restrictions removed from that 4.77 acre tract, just because I want to keep the subdivision in the same condition that it's in now, and that the restrictions stay the same. And the fact that I'm kind of rambling, but I think we can keep, I know we can. I mean, I feel comfortable, and the residents also are backing me on the fact that it seemed to me that I couldn't plant a large quantity of trees according to the subdivision restrictions, but we've come to the realization that may be more of a restriction that applies to properly maintaining the stuff that you do have. So it's not actually going to need to be, the restriction's not going to need to be removed, is what I'm asking.
Can you accomplish what you want to accomplish regarding that tree buffer and still retain all attributes of those restrictions?
Yes, and that's a good way to put it. I'm just lack for words, I guess, and what I'm trying to say is that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Would they agree with you?
I think so. I think that.
Why don't you get ready to speak again in just a second? We'll let Mike finish up, and then you can address this. But you're asking for a couple of things, and one's, I understand, if we can help you by removing those 6 dividing lines between those 7 lots and put this back as an unimproved 4.7 acres, your tax basis in those will go down and you'll end up paying less tax. Well, the way I look at it is if doing that and putting up the appropriate buffer to that, Rooster Farm there north of you will help you sell one more lot and build one house, we'll recoup that. So I'm going to support you on that, but I don't want you to be able to go out there and do something that may be beneficial for you, but they're going to view that as, man, this isn't what we intended to happen. And I think what's good for you is good for them, but...
Oh, it absolutely is. And I understand that. I explained to them, not everyone that I was able to speak to, but the ones that were present on July the 4th, I understand the apprehension. I certainly understand it. I mean, it would be, it's he said, she said type deal, and I understand that. I do have a large interest in that still, however, in the fact that I have several unsold lots, and it would not be to my advantage to do anything stupid. I have no intention of selling the 4.77 acres, but I do want to maintain the restrictions. I can't say that if I were to kick the bucket tonight, what would happen. So in order to protect that and to protect that subdivision, I'm asking that the restrictions stay on it. My only reasoning for asking that the restrictions be removed before was simply because I didn't realize that it was a possibility that I could plant the trees or do a buffer there and stay within the original restrictions. We've since come to the realization that we can, and it really wouldn't change anything for any of the residents in the subdivision or myself as just a lot owners over there, because of the fact that it's unimproved land now. I mean, none of those 7 lots obviously have sold. Nothing's going to change. If it did change, it would obviously stay just like it was proposed to be in the original deal, because the restrictions would be the same. I'm not asking for the restrictions to be changed at all.
Well, it sounds to me like all you're asking us for is to approve a replat of this subdivision, including those 7 northern lots, but removing the dividing lines between those 7 lots.
Simply put, that's it. And of course, my
And we
reading...
really have nothing to do with the subdivision rules under
It wouldn't. They're
under
going to
that
stay
proposal.
just the same. All right, they're going to stay. And I'd like for it to be made, I'd like for the verbiage to be so that it states that that there's no doubt that the restrictions remain on that property. If there's some way that it could be reiterated, that to make sure that it's not, that there's no misunderstanding, or that there's no way for anybody in the future to misconstrue the fact that those restrictions are on that property and will remain on that property.
Well, what I would ask you to do is you figure out how you're going to reword that when you replat this with the assistance of an attorney or something, and then we'll let John Mark look over what you're proposing. And again, it's going to be more for their satisfaction as to that verbiage, because we're not going to address, I don't believe, the restrictions of this subdivision. We're not going to...
Right, and if you have the authority to do that, I think that your motion tonight would be to not remove those restrictions. I mean, as far as the replat, it's already been done. I just want to make sure that that's enough, I guess, is what I'm asking. If that's legally enough, once that motion's made here, if that's what you choose to do, that there's no way that could be misconstrued. That would always be the case.
Okay.
I don't think that there need to be anything done. I think your authority would rule in that effect. Okay. But if it needs to be, I'm certainly willing to go to the extra expense to make sure that it's reiterated.
At this point, have you replatted this? Have you paid for a new survey?
Simply just to find out the size of the track and that kind of stuff. It was just easy for the surveyor to tell me what was involved in it. Okay.
Well, it sounds like maybe the motion tonight that you're seeking would be for us, one, to not make any changes to the subdivision rules here, and then to table any motion related to approval of a new survey that shows a single 4.7 unimproved tract at the northern end.
Why would you table that? I guess
Well, do you have anything on paper and write? In other words, do you have a new
I do. I don't have it with me, but I don't have the legal with me.
I think we probably would want to see that.
Right, I understand.
I mean, it's kind of tough to approve something we can't
Sure.
look at. I can imagine what it looks like, but I want to see that it does indeed exist. I mean, it's not that I don't believe you, but I want to be able to file that with the minutes that we've got, just like as if this was a brand-new subdivision we were approving tonight. I'd like to see what this new subdivision looks like, have a copy of it in writing and on file for everyone to look at.
Okay.
Anybody feel differently about that?
No, question is, are you sure you can keep the restrictions by making a lot that size, one lot? Is there no restrictions on sizes of the lots to build a house on?
No, actually, let me show you just briefly on there. You might use your if you look at all this up in this manner here, and I've got this simply, just like I said, over on the right-hand side of that, there's a reference bearing, and I can't see the number of my eyesight's telling me. There's on the right-hand side here, there's actually 10 acres that was originally part of this 75-acre tract. That has restrictions placed on it, very similar to the restrictions that are on the subdivision. And when we sold that, we placed those on there, and they're filed in the county clerk. So that also is going to protect the subdivision. So I know that it can be done. I know it needs to be done on that 10 acres.
There's no restrictions, though, like on the size of the lot to build a house? I mean, you can't let a guy buy one of these lots and split it in half and build two houses, can you?
They cannot be.
Cannot be less than half acre.
That's That's a good question. I'm really not sure about that. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I really don't.
Can't be less than half an acre, it'll be as big as a...
I don't know that. I don't know if the restrict. I don't know if they do or don't. I address the fact.
Court a long time ago. That's passed a long time ago. They gotta be a half an acre.
Oh, the size of, yeah, they're all to the size that they need to be, but I don't really know the answer to whether they could be, I don't think that they can be, I know that someone could buy multiple lots and build a home in a split lot. I know that that's a possibility, but I don't know that the size of the lot would matter, because those lots vary in size from like 2/3 of an acre or half acre all the way up to a little over an acre now.
Marcus, are you ready to make a comment?
Yes, sir. It's just the same as the court. We're full agreement to that. We would like something with substance, on paper. Assuring us just the same thing as the board. It's not that we're just going to go tonight. We have a covenant or a deed that we follow.
Okay. Are you where you could obtain that new survey, that new diagram of the subdivision tonight? I mean, if you came back in an hour or so?
I'm sure that the surveyor is closed at this point.
Okay, you don't have a copy of it then in your possession?
I have I actually have I don't have a plat. It's just worded. I guess the description is there, but the plat's not there. And the only reason I don't have that, and I'm not prepared to have that today, is because in the last meeting, I was unclear as to what you wanted. At one point, we talked about whether we wanted a new survey or a new plat.
Well, you may be right. You may be right.
And we also talked about whether do we want a survey of that 4.77 acres. I can produce both. I just don't want to pay to have both of them if we don't need both of it. I mean,
What I would like to see is this document here on the surveyor's paper indicating a change in that top row being one solid single piece indicating 4.7 or however many acres.
Okay.
And I would have no problem in approving that pending, entering that into the court records at the next meeting. So at least you can walk away from here knowing you've got the vote as soon as you bring us that document.
Okay. Are y'all in agreement that we need a...
My only problem with this is, everybody that does a subdivision, what if they come up and in 2 years from now and their subdivision, they hadn't sold all their lots? They say, well, look at here, I can come up here and I can change do away with these lots up here and reduce my taxes. I don't think that's fair to start with. Now that would be my job. I think we're going to open a can of worms when we start letting them take lots out of a subdivision.
Okay.
Now that's my opinion.
And that may be the case. And let me address that for future reference. That very well could be the case. I will say this from a justification standpoint, from a taxing standpoint. I feel like, and I can't prove this because it's only speculation, I guess. Obviously, I feel like the tax base would actually increase by doing this instead of decrease. In my situation. Now, whether it would be that way in anyone else's situation, I don't know. But I feel like by creating a buffer there and getting rid of that problem area that we have over there on the other side of 4840, County Road 4840, namely the Rooster Farm, that with just one or two lots, interest being shown or revisited, people who have walked away because of the Rooster Farm, I mean, they're going to put they're going to replace that $15,000 taxable lot with a $300,000 home. And so, I understand that would increase the tax basis. It's going to leave us stagnant if we don't. And so that would be my argument there.
Well, I think what Commissioner Hockaday brings up is a very valid point. And if you didn't have what I consider to be a rock-solid reason that I think is going to benefit not only you, but the residents out there, we wouldn't have gotten this far in this. I think that this will, I know this subdivision, I know the problem up there, and I do think that this will be a help for everyone concerned, and I think it will produce some, fairly quickly, some better tax valuation out there. And we would just have to look at this on a case-by-case basis and hope that people are not going to look at this as an opportunity to take advantage of the system. But, I will support you on this. Any other comments, positive or negative? That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I'd like to know whether they can subdivide a lot and have a size restriction on it. Some of those, do you know what the restrictions are about the size of the lot?
There's a minimum size, but not a maximum, is that right?
Not many you want to
I didn't hear you say.
There's not a minimum.
No, they can put,
About 2 or 3 lots, they want to build right in the middle of them.
I know,
But one of the
they can put
restrictions
two
was
houses
the
on
lot
one
had to be at least, what, you say, half an acre?
Half an acre.
But there's no maximum size.
There's no-
Actually, I think it's so many square feet, but it could be equal to a half acre.
Winds up about a half acre.
Right.
Whatever the square feet is.
no less than a half acre?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we table it till we find that out?
What are you unsure about?
These restrictions, if we put this into one lot, one big lot, or,
Well, first of all, he's not asking the court to make any change to the restrictions. I don't really care what's on those restrictions. As long as he can live with it, I'm not going to make any changes to those restrictions.
I think all the restrictions fall in our guidelines of what we propose.
Y'all have accepted those restrictions already.
Yeah, they're already in there, so that's, I don't think we
Right.
have any control over that.
How do you feel?
Well, the half acre,
Mike, would you turn that mic off? I'm going to see if that's the problem.
I think that's it.
I'm a little loud. It will-
No, I don't think that's it. I think it's the air blowing on it.
okay, your lots, it was set up, to set up where you could not put more than one home or mobile home or whatever to a half acre, the least that you could put on there. You could, if you had 2 acres, you could put up to 3 or 4 houses because you had a half acre per house or per trailer house or whatever. The restrictions were adopted and they're on there. So that, unless we'd have to remove them if you wanted to remove those. So basically what you're looking at here to me is you're voting on whether you combine those 7 lots, one lot, or leave them as is. But the restrictions, to remove those, we as a court would have to make that into a motion to do it. That would be my understanding of it.
Yeah, and that's what I understood today with the brief conversation with the attorney, was the fact that if the restrictions are not mentioned, they stay. But it's also my desire that we make sure that those restrictions stay on there. If that counsel that I received today was correct, then I don't know that the restrictions need to be mentioned because they already are there. But it is my desire to make sure, absolutely sure, that those restrictions do remain on that property.
I think the only restrictions we got on that thing, though, is the sewer systems and the size of the
No,
lot.
there's a 20 page, there's a 20
And
page.
that's all we've got to do on it, though. I mean,
Oh, right.
other than that, you know, I don't see how we can set your restrictions, whatever you want on the sale of the lots. That's not, I don't think that's the Commissioner's Court's place to do that. That's yours.
In other words, he's saying regardless of what restrictions you wrote up 5 years ago, that was never something that the commissioners voted on. They made sure that your restrictions at least covered the Commissioner's Court restrictions, which were much less restrictive than yours were.
Then who enforces those restrictions? Then who enforces those restrictions?
I guess anybody that owns property there.
Our restrictions, the environmental man does that.
But I mean,
That's the only
it
restriction we
seems
got.
ridiculous to me that all subdivisions in the state of Texas would have to have restrictions drawn up if there's nobody that would enforce those. I mean, I'm trying to look out for the homeowners out there, you know, I mean, I guess I'm asking too many questions, but if they're there, there's got to be some reason that they're there. And there's got to be something.
Well, a neighborhood can have some very restrictive covenants in their homeowners association, but it doesn't mean that the city imposed those or that the county imposed those. You know, there may be a requirement to have white picket fences, you know, in between every house, but that's not a city restriction, that's not a county restriction, and they're not going to enforce that. But when you come in there as a new landowner and you put in a black chain link fence, you've got to contend with your other property owners out there, not with the county, and they're not going to come to the county for enforcement of that. That's a civil matter between you and that landowner or that neighbor.
I mean, it really falls to a trust deal then. I mean, my understanding of that, if that's the case. I mean, if there's no enforcement of it, I don't know. That's news to me. It's just
Okay. Nigel, what have you have to add to that?
I used to be president of a homeowners association out of Lake Cyprus, and it sounds to me like what she's missing is having an actual homeowners association. The normal practice is when 50% of the lots are sold, the original developer eases out the proper homeowners association itself and takes over the responsibility for enforcing all the bid restrictions. That sounds like that's the step that we need to be thinking about.
I didn't quite understand.
Well, he's saying once you're the minority owner out there, you can turn over that homeowners association. I don't know if you have a homeowners association or what governs out there.
But at this point, I guess I govern it. I'm finding out tonight. I mean, I'm not real sure.
Well, I haven't looked at your documents, but the county is not going to be the party that a disgruntled landowner would come to when they believe that somebody else in their neighborhood has gone in there and I don't know what the restrictions are. What are some typical restrictions in your restrictions?
I mean, actually, it's the same restrictions that are on these subdivisions that Ricky Baker's doing out north of town. I mean,
For example, what are they? They've got to be brick? They've got to be brick?
brick, a certain amount of brick.
Okay, well, see, look, for example, if somebody went out there and built a house with a bunch of aluminum siding, they would have immediately violated that, but they don't come to the county to enforce that.
I guess my question there would be where that grievance would be.
Okay. I'm going to get one more comment and we're going to move on. Judy?
Homeowners have to get an attorney, have to get together, they're going to do something. These restrictions are like that all over the country, out here in the county. I deal with them on a daily basis. And the restrictions have nothing to do with the platting of the lots, unless it has any restrictions on it. It wouldn't have any restrictions on it because there weren't any lots that size. So, I mean, if the homeowners, it would have to get together or get mad, or a neighbor would have to say, I'm going to get an attorney because he's not following restrictions. None of them have homeowners associations
Yeah.
unless
Okay.
they've got.
But their beef would be with their neighbor, not with the county or with the...
I'm going to say this then in public, just to make it public. What I'd like for us to do is I'd like for you to consider, and we'll make this quick, much quicker than it has been, hopefully, for you to consider making the 4.77 acre tract from those 7 lots. I will produce proper documentation that you've asked for. And I would recommend that we set up a homeowner association for the homeowners there in that subdivision. And you guys would basically be the authority. If a new landowner comes in, then you would have officers, and you would be responsible for taking on and approving those plans and those tracts.
Well, that goes way beyond our interest here. But, rather than approving this pending, I think I'm just simply going to say, we're going to table this. But here's what I expect to happen. When you, what is this? On that particular development? Yeah, well, here's a bunch of them in here. But again, these were written up by you, not by the county. Just here's some of the topics: temporary or mobile structures, animals and pets, antenna, trash removal, parking, tract maintenance, signage, And there's a bunch of those kind of things in there that, we didn't impose on that development. Some of them we did. We're interested in adequate sewer disposal and, the type of structure that's out there, but as far as parking and antennas and stuff, you take it one step beyond that.
I hate to disagree, but it's my understanding that those restrictions were placed with the plat for approval by the County Commissioners Court back in 2006. And I think that's the way it's done with every subdivision in the state of Texas. Now, I may be wrong, but I know that they had to be presented together.
That's right.
They probably were, but you don't, if you or a homeowner wants to come and have, I don't like the fact that I can't have a 200-foot antenna hanging up out there. They don't come back to the Commissioner's Court to remove that restriction that you wrote into the...
I understand that, Judge Lee, but I'm saying, my question is, what good are they if they're not enforceable by any?
They are enforceable. It's a civil matter between whatever person in that development wants to complain about the offender, whoever that offender is, whether it's you, the developer, or whether it's their next-door neighbor.
They're supposed to sign, when they buy the lot, they're supposed to sign the paperwork agreeing to those restrictions.
Yeah.
So if they did that, and then if they don't follow the restrictions, then the homeowners association can sue them because they have a contract that they agreed to follow and they're not following it. But it's a civil matter.
Yeah, if Marcus brings in a mobile home for his mother-in-law and parks it in the backyard, his next-door neighbor doesn't come to the county and say, hey, he's violated this. That's a matter between the two of them.
I understand that. My question to you is so that we can make this move along for your sake. What would you like to request from me next?
All I'm simply requesting is a new plat, this document prepared by the surveyor, eliminating 7 lots and showing one unimproved 4.77 acre lot there. What I will be ready to do is at the next meeting, I will be prepared to approve that revised subdivision plat or survey, whatever you want to call it, with no impact from the Commissioner's Court upon any existing restrictions. Is that going to satisfy your needs?
I think so.
Okay. Any area that you're unsure about?
Just want to make sure those restrictions stay there, and I'll just have to do some research on making
Okay,
sure.
well, we'll make that part of any motion, is that the Commissioner's Court does not make any alterations to the existing subdivision restrictions that were in place at the time it was originally formed.
Fair enough.
Any homeowners want to add to that, delete from that? Are you all prepared if you know that's what's coming at our next meeting? Okay, give me a call if you think of something. Otherwise, I'll ask for y'all to table this until Friday, August the 8th. That'll be a morning meeting. You think you'd have that document back to us by then? Okay. All right. And I don't want to. I want to be sure that you feel like what I'm saying here is going to make what you need happen.
I think so.
If you think of anything in the meantime that makes you not sure that that's going to get the job done, let me know. Okay.
Second.
Okay, I didn't make the motion, but you, okay.
I'll make the
Motion by
motion.
Commissioner Riddle to table
Second.
this, and second by Commissioner Hinton. Okay, well, thanks, y'all. We obviously don't have a lot of experience in dealing with something like this. We want to do it right. We want everybody to walk out the door and be happy. Item number... Oh, we didn't vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed, no. Yeah, that's, got to do that last part. Item number 6, please pardon me.
I don't think it'll go.
Oh, yeah, y'all are welcome to go. We're informal here. Y'all head on home and grab your dinner. Thank you for coming. Welcome anytime back. Item number 6, forgive me for putting this in here. This didn't need to be in here at this point. I've spoken with Christie in the auditor's office, and the part that they were asking me for has been taken care of. At this time, I do not need any Commissioner's Court action on this matter. I may in a future meeting here in the next month or so, but at this time, I'm not even going to ask you to table it. I'm just going to say that that was an unnecessary item. Is that appropriate? Item number 7, consider and possibly approve annual changes to county road and bridge fees, child safety fees that's charged on vehicle registration. Every year the state asks us, are you okay with what we're doing related to fees that are paid at the time folks register their car? Let me tell you what we currently have in Titus County. We have about 3 items that can be charged. Maximum of $10 on the road and bridge, and we are currently charging that maximum $10. There is a child safety fee of up to $1.50, and there is a transportation project fee up to $10. And their question is, will you have any changes to what you are currently charging? And again, all we're charging is the $10 road and bridge fee, or do you want to make any adjustments to that, or do you want to add the child safety fee? We're not even eligible on the transportation project fee. That's just a handful of counties. So do you want to add $1.50 or any part thereof for a child safety fee? And do you want to make any adjustments downward on your road and bridge fee? Or do you want to leave it as is? All right, motion by Commissioner Hockaday to submit with no changes.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Set that aside and I'll sign that. Item number 8 is consider and possibly approve setting fees for 2015 for the civil services provided by the sheriff and the constables. And I asked for comments on these, and I got a different response. One of our constables responded, and Constable Durant says, I feel we should increase our fees from $75 to $80 on citations, subpoenas, and all other notices. Writs of executions from $150 up to $200. Writs of possessions are fine at $150, and forcible detainers are fine at $100. We have stayed at our current rates for several years, and I feel it's time to increase our fees. Writs of execution are very time-consuming. That's the one he's recommending, going from $150 up to $200. So again, here we're dealing with citations, subpoenas, and all other notices. Chris Durant recommends going from $75 to $80, and then on writs of execution going from $150 to $200, and leaving writs of possession and forcible detainers the way that they are. Let's see, from Sheriff Ingram. Sheriff said there should be no changes, leave it the same. Well, that's the sheriff's comments. No, I didn't get a response from our other constable. Let me just run down what all of these are. Subpoenas, $75, summons, $75, writ of attachment, $150, writ of garnishment, $100, writ of sequestration, $150, orders of sale, $150, writ of possession, $150, forcible detainers. Service fees, $75, restraining order, $75, citation by posting, $25. So leave it alone, follow instructions of Constable Durant.
I'll make a motion to say we take the sheriff's recommendations.
No changes on the sheriff's and constable fees is the motion by Commissioner Hockaday.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of making no changes to those, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item number 9, consider and possibly take action on purchase of furniture for adult probation department. All right. We're getting ready to have a new space open up over there, and we obviously need some furniture in there. And we can go anywhere from telling them to haul your old furniture over there and make do, or you can spend up to about $35,000. We have been talking, I'm not ready to present to you any firm figures for your approval because we haven't put that much time into it, talking about details. But tonight I've got Kerry Evans, who has come tonight. He is with TLC. TLC provides excellent service for us on all of our printers and most of our printers and copiers. They're also in the furniture sales business. They have a wide variety of services that they offer to us, and furniture is one of them. And we've also visited with Furman's. When I say we, Gilbert Oliveras from Adult Probation has visited with these folks, and he's kind of given them an idea of what he likes after talking to his boss and to his co-workers. And each of these companies, Furman's and TLC, has worked diligently to put together what they feel like is a good list of items that are needed. I've got a response here from Furman's, and I told Kerry that I'd give him a few minutes and kind of tell us what you've come up with. And again, we're not ready to take action on an exact dollar figure, but I do want you to kind of give me some guidance as to what you want to do to equip these offices, knowing that this is expensive stuff. We're not talking about, super high-end furniture, but we are talking about, quite a few chairs for guest chairs within each of the probation officers' offices. We've got to equip the waiting room with chairs. We've got to have chairs for the conference and training room. We need desks and credenzas in the 7 offices, and we need some tables or a table in the conference room. And if I'm forgetting something, Carrie, I know you'll help me fill in. But if you'd like to come on up, Carrie, and I'll get you to flip that switch up towards the mouthpiece on the back side of that, and you can get as detailed as you want in a few minutes here. You've kind of given me, Carrie brought to me some prices here that range, and I don't know if you want to call this the economy offering, but basically the two differences here have been in the quality of the actual desk, credenza, what do you call that, overshelf?
It's a low overhang.
Low overhang. They've suggested the same executive chair that the department picked out, chair mats, stacking chairs, and conference room and tables are all pretty much, that's not where the big dollars lie. The big dollars lie in these wooden pieces, the desk and the associated pieces that go there. And so I'll turn it over to you, and you can kind of tell these guys what the type of furniture that you're looking at for over there, and see if they want to consider delving further into this or what they'd like to do.
Well, good evening. Thank you for the audience tonight. I appreciate being here. What I've done over the last 2 weeks or so is, with the help of the judge and with Gilbert Aviles, I've went and visited with both of them and also toured the new facilities. One of the things that I noticed from giving the catalog that we have and from Gilbert going online was that there's 2 different types of options that you have. I asked Gilbert to give me an option that he liked and an option that was suitable. And through the process that we went through, we've given the 2 proposals for those 2 options. The option that everybody wants is the most expensive, of course. The option that's suitable is the least expensive. So we kind of threw out the middle ones and just went with those 2. The difference between the 2 is basically the executive furniture. Why would there be that big of a difference in executive furniture? Number one, name brand. We're talking about a difference between a Toyota and Mercedes here. Sometimes you pay for a name. The more expensive furniture has that name that people pay more money for. Number 2, the construction of the actual wood itself, the veneer. Sometimes when you go with a more exotic wood, a more expensive veneer, you pay a little bit more for that. So what I didn't want to do was I didn't want to steer the county in a direction of more expensive or less expensive. I wanted to steer them into what they felt like they needed and what they wanted. And over the course of that conversation with Mr. Alvarez and with the judge, what I found was the least expensive option is actually the one that Gilbert actually wants now. He has more storage space. The biggest difference going forward that you guys would see as far as the furniture lasting is Well, I lost my train of thought. Goodness gracious. This is my first time in front of the Commissioners Court. You guys are a little intimidating.
You're telling me.
Hardware, yes.
Yeah.
The difference, one of the biggest differences, and I told this to the judge, I don't know, maybe somebody would get a laugh out of this, but I mean, you could literally pull a drawer open on the more expensive unit and lay an 18-pound kid on the drawer and change its diaper. Well, with the less expensive, you might be able to do that for a 1-year-old. I mean, it's just the difference of being able to handle the hardware and the heaviness of the impact. The other reason why I wanted to speak with you guys tonight is it's important to me to make sure that when I promise I can do something, that I can deliver. I know that when you're talking about road building and bridge building, you know, the weather has a gigantic effect on that. The last thing that I want to do is get up and make a presentation to you guys, and with the knowledge that you guys need this equipment by, say, September 1st is the actual date of which they anticipate this coming, and not being able to deliver that. So that's why I asked to be able to talk, because I really need 30 days to be able to ensure that not only can I put all the furniture together, but I can get it here and have it all installed in the proper amount of time. The last thing that I want is for the new offices to be ready, the contractor to hand over the keys to the county, and you all are waiting on my furniture. That being said, I did cut costs significantly in one particular regard when we first started this process. We talked about a conference room that Gilbert wanted a conference table that would seat 15 people. And that's an extremely expensive amount of money. That's close to $10,000 in some cases, depending on the veneer that you want. So what I recommended that he do, and this is part of the proposal here, is use conference room tables as opposed to an actual conference table. The skinny, they're actually 24 feet deep, or 24 inches deep by 60 inches wide. And not only can you arrange those as a conference table, but you can also arrange that for the training they do with DUI people. There's lots of training that's involved in what they do. So they don't just need a conference table, they also need to be able to set this room up to be able to do training and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure that I've answered all your questions or if I've done an appropriate job, but I'm trying.
There's about 45 chairs that are going to be the same chair. There's a couple of them for the guests that are there in
the 45 chairs are high-density plastic chairs. They're built to hold up to a 400-pound person. They're actually stackable. You'll have 15 chairs for your reception area where people come and wait to be seen by the officer. Then at the officer's desk, you'll have 2 chairs in front of each desk for the officers to do their interviews privately in their offices. Then we will have 15 or 16 chairs in the conference room to be used for training and conferences and things like that. We also have 9 chair mats. I know that you guys are probably wondering, why in the world would you need 7 desks and 9 chairs? In the reception area, when the people on probation come to pay their bill, they're actually going to have 2 desks that are built into the wall itself. So we do not need the furniture for those desks, but we do need the seating for those desks. So that's why we have 7 desks and 9 chairs and 9 office mats.
Those 45 chairs, as I recall, are about $83 a piece.
They're $83 a piece, yes.
Real strong, simple, hard plastic and chrome, stackable, last a long time.
They're extremely durable. I saw in one commercial on YouTube a guy throw one against the wall. He was trying to, show you its durability, and it didn't break. But these are specifically designed to be handle lots of wear and tear. They're very, very durable. They do a really, really good job of what it is that they do. The other cool thing about the chairs is if you do have more than 15 or 16 people in your conference room, you can always go grab the same exact chair from the reception area, or vice versa. If you need more in the reception area, you can do that. The other thing is when you need to clean your office, you can stack them all up in a corner, and it saves space and time, not having to wheel things around and do that sort of thing. The other thing I would mention is the conference tables that we're recommending. They actually are foldable down, so you can actually store them to the side if you don't need as many as you would like. But you can also configure that room very differently as a classroom style or with a conference table. And then also you can also have desks where you can have pamphlets and things out for people to be able to get those things as well. But again, The biggest difference between the two prices is the name brands of the office equipment, i.e. the desk. But there's one key feature that I want to point out to you that's important for you to know is you're actually getting more furniture with the least expensive option than you would with the more expensive option. The more expensive option, you're just getting your front executive desk and then an L with their credenza in the back. But with the least expensive option, you're getting your executive desk with an L and a credenza and a low overhead. They will not require any more filing cabinets, any more office furniture other than what they have there. So it basically takes care of all of their office needs within that one unit.
Okay.
Are there
Thank
any
you, Kerry.
questions I can answer?
Well, I can't think of anything specific, but I appreciate the time that you've put into this. And again, Kerry is simply responding to the wishes and the direction of the probation department. He didn't come in with the, here's what you need. He was responsive to what they asked him for. So first of all, just to give you an idea, the total cost on his economy setup, I'll call it $23,254 is approximately what we're dealing with, assuming we stuck with that, with each of those particular models in each of those categories. And the high end, instead of that $23,254, jumped up to $34,000, 23 up to $34,000. We will, although I don't have any more detailed figures from Furman's, they're set approximately $30,000, give or take. So we're going to be in the same ballpark. We just don't have any specific pieces identified by Furman's at this time. So all I wanted tonight to be able to accomplish is give me some direction here. Are you all ready to equip these offices with new furniture? Do you want to say, forget it, make them use the old furniture? What are you willing to do for these offices?
Have you talked to John about any kind of money they would have?
I have not, no.
They should have some, I think.
Certainly going to ask about that, yeah.
I actually asked him about that. He said that he was allowed, under this Texas law, what he indicated to me was that they were allowed by chairs but not on. They were allowed by computers but not the network. That much
They're allowed to buy chairs and what?
He said that they're not allowed to buy desks and office furniture, but they could buy chairs.
Okay.
He also said that they had to buy their own computers, but they could not. And I think that that comment represents your next line item. They could buy the network stuff themselves, that the county would have to do that. Of course, I'm not a lawyer or claim to be, so.
What about the chairs, the executive chairs for the desks? Did he indicate whether that could be included?
That's correct, he did. He didn't indicate whether he would be willing to do it or not. I'm not suggesting that. He just indicated that what he understood the law in the state of Texas would be that he would be allowed to do that if he was asked.
All right.
We looked, and we asked any of the other furniture stores around town to kind of look at this, see if they can.
I'm just getting started here because I had no idea. I wanted to be able just to give you a ballpark idea of what it's going to take. And I will certainly ask John Kelly about what kind of contribution they could make to this. But I'll go in whatever direction you want me to go. If again if we're going to have to order, and we are going to have to order, we'll want to be sure we give him at least, 2 weeks would be virtually unheard of. 4 weeks, I think, would be the norm, and come the 1st of August, we're going to be looking at a month away from the tentative or the projected move-in date. Not that we have to move in immediately. We've got some time to work with. If all we're missing is furniture, we'll delay that move-in. So what would you like for me to do here? I'm not expecting a vote on making a purchase tonight, but I did want you to tell me what you'd like me to do.
Judge, I'd like to go ahead and check and see what the state can pay, and kind of go from there. And if we decide to do that, how long would it take to get this furniture in? What is the delivery date on it? 2 weeks? 1
One
week?
time, no, sir, it's 30 days for me to be able to, it could very well be 2 weeks for me to be able to get everything in, but I don't want to promise 2 weeks and then not deliver. I really want 30 days. That's why because Mr. Alvarez is actually going on vacation at the end of this week, and then I needed the next commissioner's court was going to be coming up on the 8th. So that's why I asked to have this on the item today, because I really do need that extra time. Now, I'll do whatever you guys want me to do, and if you're okay with the equipment or furniture being delivered on the 8th or the 15th or the 20th of September, I'm okay with that too. If it's possible that I can get it earlier, I just don't want to under-promise and over-promise and under-deliver. That's just not why we've been at our company and y'all and the county's had a great relationship for 10, 20 years, and I just don't. I want to be able to promise you, I really want 30 days.
Right. I will check on that. I will get an answer. Do you want me to, at the next meeting, bring you some firm bids from a few companies?
You get this.
Bids, quotes.
Are you willing to buy new furniture for these places as opposed to telling them, use your old stuff?
And that, I don't know what kind of furniture they got down there, what kind of desk, what the shape their desk in, or any of that. Do they have any that they can use, or is that just out of the question to use them?
I don't think anything's out of the question.
Did we get any other prices, just from one supplier, just from him?
And Furman's. Furman's will bring to us some bids. They just weren't prepared to give me anything as detailed as Kerry had brought me tonight. And I haven't brought you anything from any other companies. We really don't have any other full service, somebody that would deal in this caliber of equipment. Buying it through Staples, for instance, is going to be a different, they've got different capabilities out there. Furman's is local. TLC, although they're not local, they have been providing us with good good printer and copier service for a good while.
Judge, if you would, check on that. You can get a quote.
Okay.
Check it, Farmers, check the delivery day and stuff, but if they have some things they need, they have to have to operate, I think we need to
Okay.
get them.
In the meantime, I would encourage y'all to stick your heads in the offices of these probationers. I want you to see firsthand the furniture that they have. I'm not telling you it's absolute junk. I just want you to know what the possibilities are. And ask them what of course what their answer is going to be as to what they want, but what they want and what they get may be two different things.
I understand they're gonna add two more probation officers, right? So they don't.
I don't know what the time frame is on that, but I'll find out exactly what could we start with as a bare minimum. If it's less than what we're proposing here, we certainly can postpone the other, or at least we could staff that office with used furniture in the meantime until we had a permanent position filled. Okay, well, that's what I'll do. I'm going to make a motion that we table any action on furniture for the probation department. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Kerry, thank you again very much. You and I will talk again. Item number 10, we're still on adult probation. Consider and possibly approve an expenditure of $2,625 for computer network hardware. Let me tell you what we're talking about here. After sitting down with Gilbert and with Sean Bryan with K-Bro, initially Gilbert wanted to be able to have wireless internet within that area. The cost to have an additional firewall in there really made having wireless access throughout that space cost prohibitive. We definitely want to have them tied into our hardwired network. It's definitely more secure and certainly a lot cheaper. But still, just to equip that space with network capability where every computer within those offices can access our county records. We need two 48-port patch panels. This is where all the wires are plugged from the incoming network to the infrastructure of wire that goes throughout those offices. Those are $149 each. We've got two 48-port 1,000 megabyte per second 19-inch rack mount switch at $589 each. One open frame wall mount equipment rack, and then about 10 hours of tech time to set this network within that space up. Total comes to $2,625. That will take care of the parts and the labor, again, to network all of the computers in the new adult probation space so that they have internet access and county record access, which they must have. This is less expensive than wireless because of the wireless need for a very special firewall protection to protect that network. It's much more vulnerable and would not be suitable.
Make a motion to approve that expenditure.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton to approve this expenditure for network hardware for adult probation. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor of this expenditure, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item number 11, discuss and possibly take action on the Regional Public Defender Program for capital murder cases. This is something that we took action on. I guess it's been over a year now, and this is the service that provides public defense. Basically, it's insurance as to whether or not we might have a capital murder case here that would require the county paying the bill for a defense attorney to be provided for an indigent defendant. And Commissioner Riddle asked me to put this on here, and we're certainly not bound by any contract to remain with this program. It's not a cheap program. And the question is it a necessary program? Are we spending money we don't need to spend? Is there an alternative, or do we just take a chance? So I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Riddle and let you make comments.
There's a lot of things that I don't believe that we should be doing it because of.
Is his mic on? Can you all hear him?
Yeah. Can you hear it?
Is that mic on? I don't even know it's still on.
Yeah, it's on. Good try. Basically, it's like for a 5-year. The grant for this outfit to be there was like a 5-year grant, and the participants, we're called the participant in this thing, and then after 5 years, the fees are charged on how many cases we've had the last 10 years, on the population of the county, and then at the end of 5 years, if the grant from the state is to these people, we can, it'll continue at the same percentage rates, and they have it broke down 30% for different things. But the judge still appoints, or the judge still appoints the public defender for indigent cases on the thing. And so if he appoints one, they will pay a certain fee, but a lot of the fees that they don't pay, it's only in death-eligible cases that it applies. It doesn't apply to anything else. If it's represented by I'm sorry, this is for the prisoners. The state handles that, even if he is a Titus County in prison, an inmate. Capital murder cases filed against inmates, and they will do that. But it says the responsibilities of the public defender the administrative, I don't quite understand this, the language, administrative judicial regions to appoint the PD for the trial, defense, or death-eligible murder cases. In the event of a conflict of interest among defendants or legal liability for the public defender to accept appointments, the trial court shall appoint an attorney or attorney other than the PD at the participant's expense. That's us. If they don't somebody objects to them filing it, I assume that's what it means. But anyway, the responsibility of the whole of any extra cost goes back to the participant, us. Everything else, they just furnish the basic cost for the thing, and then it's appointed. And then John Mark's not here, but he said this, and Matt Cobb, he said that Matt Cobb said that he just handled one, this was last year, and there is a flat fee of $7,600 for a public defender if they appoint him from Austin. It's a flat fee, and this, I believe that it's $7,600, and I'm not sure of that, but I did read that about a case in Dallas. You get the public defender. That's all they give the public defenders. But we have to pay it, and you know the court cost, all the stuff. Thomas said the last one we had here was $90-something thousand when we got through, right? So it's it. But John Coburn told me that Matt Cobb said that we didn't have the population jury pool trial to have a capital murder case here. They would probably move it out of here. And he didn't think that we should, the likelihood is not very good that we would ever have one.
Well, if it happens in our county, they may move it to another county, but we're going to pay for it.
You still have to pay, yes.
It says, oh, you do?
Yeah.
Who?
Change it to change it.
Huh? Well, I don't know. I don't know. It seemed like in there 5 years, if the grant goes away, they'll still put the fees based on the same thing. I don't know whether it'd be more or less, probably.
My understanding is we can, after 1 year, can we not drop that, Judge? Is that
You can drop it at any point, and it stair steps up and it maxes out at about $19,000 a year. So it's not cheap to participate in this. Are there alternatives? I don't know anything about this $7,600 cap on a public defender. I don't know anything about that.
I think, now, when I said that, I think that's what that lawyer, the public defender gets, the law fee. That's his fees now. All the discovery and stuff probably is added to that.
That's what runs up so much.
Sure it does.
Discovery, because you got to have expert witnesses and you got to pay for them. You know, it can really run into a lot of money. I don't know.
Sometimes
what is the stair step? I think it's 5 years.
Well, we started off and it was supplemented by some grant money. I don't know what the most recent one we paid was, maybe $13,000 or something like that. I don't remember what it is, but it does, I believe, based on our profile, it'll top out about $19,000 here, maybe next year or the year after next.
It's I have that rate here somewhere.
It comes back if you feel lucky. You know, one case. You wish you had paid it in a murder case like that, then we may go 25, 30 years before something like that happens. It's just, or you may want to look at putting money to the side, put so much money for a capital murder case. I don't know. It's just something we need to look at.
Well, we did look at it. We had the man from the public defender's office came down and talked to us. He provided literature. You know, I had a conversation with some of our attorneys and with Chuck Bailey, and it was their recommendation at the time to that this was a good deal for us. So, do you want to change this again? Do you want to take that risk? I don't know. I don't know the exact figure. Somewhere less than $19,000 as it stair steps up over about a 4-year period. I think we've been with them for 2 years.
1907-6, the 5th year. It graduates up.
It goes to what, 19?
19,076 for the fifth year.
$19,000 in the fifth year.
First year is 5,723, and it goes up every year. For 5 years, and it's only for 5 years. Then if they get a grant to get it back, they said they'd still charge the participants the same percentages that they based it on the population and the cases they've had the last 10 years. And we've only had one in how many years? 30 years? 25, 30 years?
No doubt, it's pretty seldom around here.
And I'd rather see it at Hopkins County. They set a fund up, $14,000 a year for that possibility. And I'd rather see it set up a fund than to belong to this with a lot of stuff to help pay for it if we did have one or had to pay for one.
Okay. Are you ready to suggest a motion?
I would I'd present that as a motion to set up a fund.
Need to do something.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Well, go ahead and make your complete motion. Tell me what you want to do here and what's your alternative. You want to eliminate our participation in the public defender
I'd
program?
make a motion that we eliminate ourselves, set up a fund of about 10 or 12,000 a year for that purpose, and we'd have the money rather than it'd be gone if we'd never used it. It would be. I'd rather have it here.
Okay. Got a motion? Second by Commissioner Hockaday. What's your amount?
I don't know. 12,000, 10,000, 10 or
Okay,
12.
the motion is to eliminate participation in the Regional Public Defender Program and set up a fund that the county would fund in the amount of $12,000 per year indefinitely as a legal fund to be available for some matters like this. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And I'm opposed. All right, motion passes. I will notify the Regional Public Defender. I don't know where we are as far as what time that money is due, but I will find out and I will report back to you. All right, item number 12, consider and possibly approve travel and seminars. I've got one here. This is from our district clerk, Deborah Abston. She would like to attend the Texas District Court Alliance 14th Annual Workshop in Austin. She says this is mandatory, 14th, 15th, and 16th of October. She would travel the 13th and the 16th, $50 registration, $140 worth of per diem, $381 worth of hotel, and ironically, $381 worth of mileage, bringing the total cost of $973.34. That's the only one that I have.
Make a motion to approve travel.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton to approve these travel requests. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, item number 13, approve oral and written reports.
We say last week that we were through with expenditures on 1402. Is that, are we through with that?
Well, I've got one budget amendment for $157.
Big one, we're through with all.
Well, we're through-
Utility relocation and
Yes,
right-of-way.
I think so. I asked Mr. Riddle the other day, buoy gas, we're not having to do anything on it, I think.
That's what.
So pretty much we're through with those. But I do have a small budget amendment for $157.
suddenly, it's not going to, at least, I don't think suddenly.
It's like
Or anything from
it's
them.
anything else to me.
Motion by Commissioner
Second.
Hockaday, second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 14, consider and possibly approve the treasurer's report.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer report. Excuse me.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton for approval, second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor of approval of the treasurer's report, say aye. Opposed, and there are none. Item number 15, approve budget amendments.
Judge, I've got 47 through 55. All of these are just line item changes, except for that number 54 that we talked about a while ago. 54 is a emergency budget amendment for $157 on the Harts Bluff project for some prorated taxes on right-of-way acquisition. That's only $157, but that will have to come out of the cash balance that's in that fund, and there's plenty of money in there. All these others are just line item changes. Number 47 is for the juvenile probation, moving $200 from transporting to meals. Number 48 is just some general line items inside the general fund. They're all small numbers. There's several in there, but they all wash out. Number 49 is precinct 2. It's moving $2,500 out of road oil and moving $2,000 up to gas and oil and $500 up into electricity. Number 50 is precinct 3. Recording the sale of assets. Some old equipment he sold generated $16,973. We recorded that as revenue, and we put the money in his other expense line. I don't know whether the fellow's going to use it or.
Yeah, I'm going to use it.
Okay, but it's money generated from the sale of old equipment. Number 51 is District Attorney's Hot Check Fund, $75 being moved from other expense to dues. Number 52 is in the Family Protective Services grant, recording some additional grant revenue of $958 and county foster care expenses of $958, but that's grant money in now. Number 53 is the Sheriff's Forfeiture Fund, $4,371 being moved out of other expenses and into capital outlay. And number 55 is to move $1,000 from the maintenance barn out of other expense and put it into the tires. Those are all just line item changes except for the $157.
Any questions about any of those items? Review those again.
Make a motion to approve budget amendments.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton for approval of those budget amendments.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item number 16, sign pay orders and approve payments.
Judge, I'll just remind you on this again, so that the record could be in touch. We've always had some bills that pay all of my checks, certified for individually outside. There were minutes with the record. So, in addition to the bills that you okay to be paid through court today, these live checks that were paid are also here. We're going to attach them to the records of the Commissioners' Court meeting. We'll do that all the time.
So you're gonna do that every time?
Yeah. They're always approved. Y'all approve them, but they need to be, have to be in the minutes. So they can see all the bills approved.
Most times you're looking at electric bills. I have the all-pro
Generally,
security.
electric bills, occasionally,
Utilities.
Credit card bills have to be paid before the court date comes up. Here lately, some of these contractors are working on construction. Their stuff they can be paid until the court date. So we contact them. But y'all, chance to see those before they're paid.
Make a motion to pay our bills.
Motion by Commissioner Hockaday,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 17, closing comments. I got a couple of comments here. During our budget workshops, we learned about the rodent problem out there at the two waste stations. Chris Basham and the contractor across the street that's working on our adult probation, James D'Angelo, went out and took a look at that. It seems that when those buildings were built, there is a piece of very basic metal trim that's pretty much a part of every metal building, a cap that should have been put on all four sides of those buildings, and that piece is not there, and those rats can go right down through that opening there. A fairly inexpensive fix to block the rodent path. Then, as far as getting the problem cleaned out inside that space between the ceiling tile and the roof of that building, they do not recommend removing that ceiling tile in there. They do recommend replacing that ceiling tile. It is stained with you-know-what, and it's got rats up there, dead rats, and it's a problem. And that ceiling, those ceiling tiles need to be replaced. I don't have a price on it. He hasn't given me a price. They've just reported to me what they think it'll take to fix it, and that is to put that piece of metal trim around the top to block the entryway, and then to replace those ceiling tiles and clean out the mess that's in there, put in a new batch of insulation in those roofs. That'll take care of both of those too. Let me know, what you would like for me to do. I'm assuming you would like to get this fixed for those guys in those way stations. That is a very unpleasant and unsanitary situation out there.
Judge, I don't have any problem with getting it fixed.
I don't have a problem with getting it fixed either, but I think we need to look at someone else, maybe let them look at it and give us a price.
I will. I'm not just going to say go ahead. And he said, I wish I could tell you how much it would cost, but if you want us to fix it, let us get some bids.
Yeah, we need to fix it. I don't.
Status on the Senior Meal Center. I have heard back from ATCOG, and I have heard from Senior Citizen Services. They are okay with the price that we were going to charge them to compensate us for the utility bills over there. I have not heard back from NETO. So hopefully I'll hear back from them soon. I've asked her twice and gotten no response. We'll see. Just a reminder, our next meeting will not be 2 weeks. It will be a little bit less than 2 weeks. It'll be on Friday, August the 8th, rather than Friday, August the 11th. Special date on a Friday there. Also at that time, Carl has summarized for us the results of our audit bids, the upcoming audit proposal. Quite likely, it is very obvious we have an alternative that is affordable, that would not be our local auditor. So I want you to be thinking on the importance of using the local auditor versus getting a change of eyes. I think that's going to be the main issue. Fortunately, the dollars are not going to be so much the issue, and we are going to award a 3-year contract. In order to get the best price from some of these other companies that we asked for quotes from, we had to agree to give them a 3-year run on that audit. So be thinking about that.
I will get each of you a copy of that information. I gave Tricia, she got that. And I won't be here on that Friday, but we'll be able to make that decision. whoever you want to use your own firm.
Visit with Carl in the meantime. It would be spend a couple of minutes with him. I think Carl's wide open to anything that you want to do. Last year, we were scared that getting a non-Titus County auditor would be cost prohibitive. It's not. So.
I always like to use local people where you can, whether it's knowledge services or anything else, but there are good reasons to rotate. So, either way you want to do it. You did a rotation for 3 years, we were with somebody else, and maybe they might do it the other 3 years, at least local people would get it every other 3-year period, but, I don't like to take business out of the local economy. You can make an argument either way. So I'm open to whichever way.
On my right, Commissioner Riddle, any comments? No comment. Commissioner Fields.
I just have one thing. I had a call, I can't think of the lady's name right now, it's at my office, a young lady, lives in Hughes Springs.
In your mind, can you tell
She
them
lives in Hughes Springs. She called me and she's getting with PTP to kind of check on that 4,000 in the completion. But they are fixing to have the national championship for endurance racing, and we've had that race here for the last 3 or 4 years. Horse race. And I think it's a 25-mile course of 50, 70, 50, and 100 miles. This is for the national championship. It'll be at Preference Ranch out there, and that's where they've always done it. It's going to bring in a lot of people, a lot of horses, and a lot of people will be here for a week to 10 days. That will be October the 30th, which is, I think, on a Thursday. And then I think Halloween falls on that Friday, and then November the 1st. But October the 30th, there will be races, and November the 1st, there will be races. But that will be for the national championship in the United States of America. So that's a big deal. It'll be coming here in October.
Here's the book saying, I said, you're the bookie too.
What now?
If I read the book, you're right. Did it say, it kind of indicated to me that although September 1st is a day, they can give an extension if they want to on that seal cover.
That's nothing new. That is a possibility, but it's not something that I would bank on, especially as cool of a summer. This is the coolest summer we've had that I can remember.
But if they were within a week or two, maybe
That's true. That's true, within a week or two.
The new road, they've seal coated from 2348 down to, well, it's about a mile, I guess, down that road they have done, and they've got it seal coated, painted.
Last edition.
usually the first 2 weeks of September are a lot, the first 2 weeks of May, and that's you starting back up again the first.
Well, and they made that clear that they would consider that come September 1. They weren't going to give you that okay back a month ago, and they're not going to give it to you now. But that is a possibility. They have done it in other districts, but we don't know how much flexibility there will be here. Okay.
It said in there, that guy from James has said they might make it, and Heidecker said they might make it.
Might is a good descriptive word. Yeah.
This area over here that they're working on right now, they're supposed to be that real low place where they had to move a lot of dirt. They'll have that filled up this Wednesday. They've made some big improvements.
You're working on both the intersections.
Commissioners, I just had something to tell Tony. I'll be right back. Y'all have any comments?
I have nothing.
No comment. We're going to adjourn. I make a motion we adjourn.
I'd say that. Let's vote on it and we'll go. No, just kidding.
Okay, did either of y'all have anything? All right.
nothing.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Hockaday and a second by Commissioner
Second.
Hinton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thanks, everyone.